I mean, here's a reality check that is probably going to sting a bit for a lot of
Oh,
people.
definitely. But it has to be said.
You spend hundreds of thousands of dollars building a brick and mortar business.
Right.
You buy the best washers, you get the best dryers.
You get the branding absolutely perfect.
Exactly. And then you just spend your life acting like a glorified security guard.
Yeah.
You're just physically there watching people like, hey, don't leave that pen in your pocket, or someone spilled soap in aisle 4. Just constantly putting out these small behavioral fires.
It is the janitor with a checkbook syndrome.
Yeah.
You own the asset, but the asset totally owns your time.
Right. It's exhausting. And in the source material we are taking a deep dive into today, they actually have a name for this state of existence. They call it manual grit.
Manual grit. Yeah.
But I want you to imagine this for a second. A capital investment of roughly $50.
Which is nothing.
Literally nothing. Buying a standard Amazon Alexa and just a cheap PA booster, and that achieved a measurable operational shift that human intervention actually struggled to match.
That right there is the headline. We aren't talking about million-dollar robotics today.
Oh.
We are talking about soft power. We are looking at a specific scenario from the living lab at Super Kleen Laundry, where a $50 setup successfully coerced customers into checking their pockets.
And reporting issues.
Right, reporting bathroom issues, all without the owner having to step in and play the bad guy.
Welcome to the Audio Lab. This isn't just a tech review, folks. This is a technical briefing for the modern laundromat owner. We are diving deep into the strategies of the precision laundry architect, Nicholas J. Gomez.
A very different approach to the business.
Completely. We are taking the data straight from the floor of Super Kleen Laundry out in Lake City, Michigan, and we're unpacking how to move from, just gut feel to very specific data-backed behavioral engineering.
The mission here is precise. We are looking at how to build a digital architecture. Because the goal isn't just to run a laundromat.
Right.
It's to stick to a strict 10-hour work week while scaling the business. And to do that, you have to eliminate that manual grit.
I actually want to stick on that term manual grit for a second because it sounds so visceral.
It does.
It sounds like exactly what it is. Just grinding, physical, reactive work.
It is the absolute enemy of the precision architect.
Yeah.
Manual grit is, well, it's sweeping floors yourself because you don't have a system.
Yeah.
It's reactive repairs. It's the physical policing of your customers. It is the friction that prevents you from scaling.
Because if you are handling every single issue personally, you cannot open a second location.
You just don't have the bandwidth.
So the solution we are analyzing today is precision architecture. But before we get to the wires and the actual Alexa setup, I want to talk about the mindset.
Okay.
Because the briefing documents start with something they call the vocabulary of efficiency.
It sounds very academic, doesn't it? Like we are back in a university lecture hall.
It really does. It sounds almost like corporate buzzwords at first glance. But the argument here is that the actual words you use to describe your business dictate your profit margins.
The linguistic guardrails.
Exactly. The sources talk about linguistic guardrails.
It is deeply practical, though. If you want to stop being a hobbyist and start being an architect, you have to change how you speak about your operation.
Yeah.
The source material is very clear on this distinction. A hobbyist writes blog posts about their day. An architect analyzes technical briefings.
Right. A hobbyist talks about the stuff in the shop. An architect manages operational infrastructure.
Precisely. And just think of the difference in posture there. A hobbyist might say they're trying something out, like, oh, I hope this works.
Crossing their fingers.
Right. But an architect executes a system implementation. It shifts your whole mindset from hoping it works to actively engineering a result.
It's almost a psychological trick on yourself. You are forcing yourself to take the business seriously.
It is way more than a trick. It is a standard. If you tell me you are doing a system implementation,
Right.
I expect data.
Right.
I expect a measurable result. And the ultimate metric for this, according to the briefing, is what they call EPC, efficiency per cycle.
Let's break that down for the listener, EPC.
The efficiency per cycle is the calculation of the exact utility cost of a single machine turn against its revenue.
Okay.
The goal is to find unproductive consumption, leakage. If water, gas, or electricity is being used, but a machine isn't generating revenue, that is a failure of the architecture.
Usually when we talk about leakage in this industry, we mean literal water leaking out of a pipe or gas burning when it shouldn't be.
Correct. But in this audio lab scenario, the leakage isn't water, it's a tension.
Oh, I like that.
It's the friction of managing people. And to fix that, You tweak what the documents call magic variables.
That is such a great concept.
Yeah.
Magic variables.
Yeah, magic variables are those very small, high-impact adjustments, things like water temps or chemical ratios that just massively impact profitability.
Right.
But today, the magic variable we are looking at isn't water or soap. It's the psychological environment created by audio automation.
So let's finally get into the experiment itself. This is the deep dive scenario on the Alexa integration. And I just have to say, the hardware list is laughably simple.
It really is.
It feels like something MacGyver would just tape together in a basement.
But that is a classic example of high-leverage intervention. You don't need a $10,000 custom sound system to change behavior.
No. So the startup at Super Kleen Laundry was literally a standard Amazon Echo Dot connected to their existing PA speakers via a cheap booster.
Yeah.
And the inspiration for this actually came from a YouTube channel called Hot Doggin' with Dan.
Which is fantastic. It shows that precision architecture can take inspiration from literally anywhere. The owner saw a proof of concept in a hot dog stand, of all places, and decided to test it in the living lab.
Right. Like, if this works for slinging hot dogs, can it work for managing a 2,000 square foot facility? And this is the key thing. It wasn't just about playing some background music. It was about operational utility. They programmed a very specific list of announcements to run automatically.
They treated the audio as a utility. Just like the water or the electricity, the sound in the room had to perform work.
Let's run through those announcements because they categorize them nicely in the briefing. First, you have the instructional announcements.
Right.
So these are reminders to check washers and dryers for items like ink pens or lighters.
Which directly attacks that manual grit we were talking about.
Yeah.
Because if an ink pen explodes in a dryer, think about the cost.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
We have to shut the machine down. You have to physically go there with acetone
Yeah.
and scrub the drum. You might lose the customer entirely who ruined their clothes. All of that is reactive work.
And a cynic listening might say, well, I already have signs on the wall that say check your pockets.
And the data shows absolutely nobody reads signs.
No.
Signs are just passive background noise. Audio is active. But here is the real nuance. It matters who is saying it. This leads us to the core insight of this entire experiment.
The robotic advantage.
Yes, the sources call it the robotic advantage.
This was the major aha moment for me in the sources because intuitively you would think a human voice is better. You want a personal touch, right?
Right.
But the sources argue the exact opposite.
Exactly. When a human staff member walks up to a customer and says, hey, make sure you check your pockets, or please keep the folding area clean, it can actually feel confrontational.
Yeah, it creates tension.
It is one person policing another person.
Right.
It creates social friction.
It feels like being scolded by a teacher. Like, hey, you follow the rules.
Right. You might comply, but you are annoyed about it.
Yeah.
But when Alexa makes a broadcast over the PA, the source text describes it as being perceived as a soft, gentle suggestion.
It is totally non-intrusive.
It is just a system announcement. Please remember to check pockets to protect your garments.
It depersonalizes the instruction entirely. It's literally just the building talking to you.
Precisely. And the data from the living lab showed that it worked. Customers actually started checking their pockets more often. Compliance went up.
Okay, then there are the commercial announcements. I absolutely love this one. They do a last call at 3:00 p.m. for coffee.
Which is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
It likens the laundromat to a pub or a bar model. It creates this instant sense of urgency.
Right, last call. Get it before it's gone.
It spurs a micro sales spike right there. But, and this is the real precision architecture part of it, it also serves a dual purpose for the staff.
Yep.
It reminds the attendant that it is time to turn off the coffee pot. So you get one broadcast serving two operational functions.
That is just pure efficiency. You don't have to call the attendant and say, hey, did you remember to turn off the burner? The robot just does the reminding for everyone.
Exactly. You are removing yourself from the loop.
They also do informational broadcasts, local weather reports in the morning and afternoon. That seems fairly standard. But the employment announcements really fascinated me. They use the Alexa to mention they are hiring.
This is a very subtle but brilliant psychological play. The source text notes that some customers might be a bit too shy to walk right up to a staff member and ask, hey, do you need help around here?
Right, it's a vulnerable position to be in. You risk rejection right there in front of everyone folding their clothes.
Exactly. It can be awkward. But if they just hear a general announcement over the PA, where you're currently looking for team members, apply at our website, It lowers the barrier to entry tremendously.
Yeah.
It invites them to apply without the social pressure of a face-to-face rejection.
So we have a system that protects the physical machines, sells extra coffee, manages the staff schedule, and recruits new employees. And it's all for $50.
And even more interestingly, it led to a decrease in what they call system latency.
System latency. It sounds like we are talking about computer code now.
It really does. But in this context, it's the time delay between a problem occurring, like a mess in the bathroom or low paper towels, and the staff actually fixing it.
Okay.
The sources mention that customers began reporting low paper towels or toilet paper directly to the staff, precisely because the robot invited them to.
So the Alexa essentially says, if you see a mess, tell us, and people actually go do it.
Yes. By empowering the customer to report issues to the staff via this audio prompt, the owner effectively crowdsourced the facility management.
That is wild.
And again, it reduces manual grit. The owner doesn't have to drive down to check the bathroom every 2 hours. The customer tells the attendant fixes it, the loop is closed.
And here's where it gets really interesting. For anyone implementing this, it wasn't all just a massive home run. There was a real friction point.
There was.
They tried to use the Alexa for background music, and it failed.
This is exactly why we call it a living lab. You have to test these system implementations in the real world. The theory on paper was, music makes the environment nicer. The reality on the floor was, culture is complex.
The data showed they couldn't balance the cultural mix of their customer base. You had Spanish-speaking customers and English-speaking customers in the same room.
And it is the classic DJ's dilemma. You play country music, one group is annoyed. You play Latin pop, the other group is annoyed. You just end up alienating one group to please the other.
So what did the precision architect do in this scenario? Did they just buy 2 speakers? Did they hire a DJ?
No. They found a much deeper insight. The Living Lab actually revealed that some customers didn't want music at all. They wanted solitude.
They just wanted to fold their clothes in total peace.
For a lot of people, the laundromat is their downtime. It's 30 minutes away from their kids or a break from their job. They want quiet.
Yeah.
So the precision architect decision was to prioritize the customer's peace over the owner's desire for ambiance. They cut the music entirely.
I think that is such an important lesson for anyone listening. We tend to instinctively think more is always better. More tech, more features, more noise. If I play cool music, I'm definitely adding value.
But sometimes the architecture actually requires stripping things away. Value is defined by the customer, not the architect. If the customer values silence, then silence becomes the product.
It just really highlights the importance of testing.
Absolutely. If they had just rolled this out as a standard protocol across 50 locations without testing it in the Living Lab first, they would have created a persistent annoyance for thousands of customers.
Right.
Instead, they tested, they gathered the data, and they adapted. That is the very definition of precision architecture.
So we have this $50 Alexa setup doing all this work. But we need to zoom out for a second. This isn't just about an Echo Dot on a wall. This sits inside a much larger tech stack at Super Kleen.
Right. You cannot just slap an Echo Dot on the wall and expect to magically have a 10-hour work week.
Yeah.
It has to integrate. If we look at the digital architecture stack, Alexa is just one component. It handles the on-site audio environment.
But you also have Bella, or Hey Rosie.
That's the AI phone receptionist. She handles all the off-site communication. 24/7 service, commercial acquisition, answering those endlessly repetitive questions like, what time do you close? Or, do you have big washers?
So the Alexa talks to the people inside the building, and Bella talks to the people outside.
Precisely. Then you add in Clean Cloud. That's the point of sale system, which tracks the machine turns and the revenue. That is where you get all your EPC data.
And Spider Wash for the credit card readers.
And Google Keep, which the sources actually refer to as the architect's task list.
Which is funny to me, a simple to-do list app that's part of the high-tech stack.
It seems basic, but it is the central nervous system for organizing the whole system implementation. Well, when Alexa prompts an attendant to do something, or Bella takes a message, or Clean Cloud shows a machine error, where does all that disparate information go? It has to be organized somewhere. Google Keep is where the architect actually manages the workflow.
And all of these tools, the Alexa, Bella, Clean Cloud, Google Keep, they all serve one specific overarching goal.
Architecting financial freedom through automation. That is the mantra here. It is about filtering out all the noise to find the actual ROI.
Yeah.
The owner of Super Kleen restricts themselves to strictly 10 hours of work per week. You cannot physically do that if you are manually making announcements, answering every phone call, and tracking revenue by hand. You need the stack to filter the noise for you.
It really changes the entire definition of what a business owner is.
Yeah.
You aren't the boss anymore, you're the engineer.
You are the architect.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between a tech enthusiast and an architect. An
Yeah.
enthusiast buys a gadget because it's cool. They buy an Alexa because they want to play with it. An architect integrates a tool because it solves a specific variable in the equation of their business. The Alexa wasn't cool. It was simply a solution to the variable of customer compliance and staff communication.
So let's synthesize all of this for you listening today. What is the main takeaway from the Audio Lab?
The lesson is that the $50 Alexa experiment wasn't really about the hardware. It wasn't about Amazon. It was about reducing the manual grit required to manage human behavior.
Yeah.
It moved the owner from reactive policing, just running around telling people what to do, to proactive system design.
It's soft power in action.
It is, and it raises a challenge for everyone listening right now.
What's the challenge?
You have to ask yourself,
Yeah.
where is the unproductive consumption in your own operation? And I don't just mean a leaky water pipe or gas valve. I mean your energy.
That's the real question.
Are you spending your own caloric energy repeating the exact same instructions to customers every day? Bathroom is over there. Wi-Fi password is on the wall. Please don't sit on the folding tables.
If you are saying these things out loud, you are leaking efficiency. You are the friction point in your own business.
And you are doing a robot's job on a human salary. And frankly, you are likely doing it worse than the robot would because you get tired and you get annoyed. The robot never does. If you really want to scale, you need to look at your architecture.
If you want to see the full breakdown of this experiment, including the exact prompts they programmed into the the actual scripts they used, you need to head over to aiforlaundromats.org.
The full case study is over there. It documents the entire process in the living lab, including the actual diagram of how they hooked up the booster.
And while you are there, make sure you subscribe to The Lowdown. That is the weekly newsletter where Nicholas J. Gomez drops these technical briefings every single Monday.
If you want to know what the next magic variable is before your competitors do, you need to be on that list. That is where the data drops first.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought based on all this. We talked about how customers preferred silence over music, right?
Yeah, the failed music experiment.
Think about this. If a $50 robot voice can engineer behavioral compliance better and more gently than a human being, and if customers actively prefer isolation and silence while they do their chores, how long until the actual physical absence of human staff isn't seen as cheap, but is actually marketed as a premium, friction-free amenity in retail spaces?
Wow. The ultimate soft power is just nobody being there at all.
Exactly. Something to mull over this week. Stop putting out fires and start building your architecture. This has been the Audio Lab. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.